I just wanted to introduce Tim Anderson, who was doing a PhD with us, and his talk is about the death of liveness. Can concerts and collaborations compete with computerized choirs and COVID-19? And my experience is that Tim at the moment is, of course, dealing with these questions of how do you, as a live multimedia artist, navigate this new sort of context, and how are you able to work out your practice or shift your practice or engage with your practice if those things like liveness and presence and authenticity are thrown into a completely new world?
Okay, welcome to the presentation, which I'll attempt to start running. The title, Can Concerts and Collaborations Compete with Computerized Choirs and COVID-19, or The Death of Liveness? When your art contains live performance and you work with other artists, and everyone except the alt-right skeptics and the trolls say to you, go away, hide, wait, stay alert, stay at home, do nothing, what can you do? And that's what I want to look at. I want to do a little bit about my work, which is a digital Gesamtkunstwerk. What is a Gesamtkunstwerk? It's total art, a syncretic synthesis of various art forms, media, all into some kind of synergy, we hope. And my interpretation of the digital Gesamtkunstwerk is that I compose artworks using performance, noise, art, music, video, lighting, text, animation, and recollection, my story, within a personal paracosm. I like the word paracosm. It refers to a world that's not quite real, but encompasses your own personal fictions, beliefs, and perhaps a bit of reality in there. Paracosm. Hogwarts is a paracosm. So is the country, whatever it's called in Game of Thrones, places where people live. And these people are as real people. I use digital technology because there are so many things I'd love to do, but just can't do. So I get a computer to do it for me. There is some good, cheap software available at the moment, and I can do things with animation and layering and sound, and I explore techniques of bricolage and assemblage to create novel artworks. I've got I don't know, couple of decades of video and sound recordings and bits and bobs that you can put together, reassemble, and add new video, new sounds to, and new concepts, new ideas to make something new. I try to develop a socially relevant prosody, which is getting ideas into my work, concepts into my work that tell a story that's maybe not obvious in it, but it's got to underlie it. It's got to be socially relevant. Politics, basically, I think. The difficult thing at the moment is finding appropriate outlets for the Gesamtkunstwerk. If I do a video with surround sound, where do I show it? There are nice little rooms in Tate Modern where they show it, little dark rooms enclosed where people come and go in the dark and the viruses breed. So that's just not on at the moment, and I don't know where I can get this done at the moment. This is something for the future. Two other things to do with my work. One is working within a context of non-excellence. I hate the idea that some people get all the prizes, all the plaudits. They're the best. They're the ones that are voted for by the Arts Council. They get the Turner prizes and whatnot. And the people who aren't quite up to that standard just fall by the wayside. I don't want to fall by the wayside. I want my work to be seen. So yeah, that's my context of non-excellence. The runners-up in the Simon Cowell show or whatever. And finally, being human, the idea is that if you're working digitally, sometimes it comes through as the computer's work and not your own. I want people to know that it's me, that I'm human, that it's not software doing everything, that I'm in there somewhere. So that's Gesamtkunstwerk. We're going back to Vincent van Gogh and the Starry Night. Now, artworks have been traditionally valued by what Walter Benjamin described as their aura, a magic property connected with their authenticity, made recognizable in their provenance. Van Gogh's The Starry Night is in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. Here are 9 versions of The Starry Night, and the question at the top is which one is genuine? It's a rhetorical question, because the genuine one is kept securely in the museum. It's got the aura. The others found on the internet don't. A full high-res print of any of those pictures on canvas would have the same impact on the viewer as the original, and probably more, because you can just sit there at your leisure and stare at it and touch it and explore it. Whereas if you tried to do that in the Museum of Modern Art, the security guards would take you away pretty sharpish. So Walter Benjamin, he developed the concept of aura in one of his essays, The Work of Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction, which to my amazement is totally readable. It's a good piece of work. Thus placing value on the original painting rather than copies or forgeries. So yeah, the one in the Museum of Modern Art, it'll probably cost you about something like 100 million, whereas a nice realistic copy done at your local print works will probably cost you less than £20, maybe 30 if you want a nice frame. His concepts of authenticity, presence and provenance all come into play in his essay. He was writing when movies were beginning, well, not beginning, but were taking over from stage plays as popular entertainment. And like these paintings, like the Van Goghs, the prints of the Van Goghs, the dramas became more accessible in movies. You could watch Shakespeare without actually leaving your little hometown. But in movies, the spark, the aura of liveness has been lost. Walter Benjamin says that with a stage production, you're interacting with the actor when you're in the audience. When you're watching a film, you're interacting with the movie camera. There's no liveness or anything like that. Going on from Walter Benjamin, Philip Auslander is currently around. He's concerned with liveness as well. In the age of radio broadcasts, his question was, what did live actually mean? When you have a live broadcast, is the orchestra really there? Is it true? Or is it a recording that's being broadcast? In fact, he's got the concept of live recording, which is apparently an oxymoron. How can it be live and a recording at the same time? Well, I think we know what he means, and we can accept that there is such a thing as a live recording. He's talking about more than one kind of liveness as well. He quotes someone called Nick Couldry in his article, Digital Liveness, a Historic Philosophical Perspective. He quotes Nick Couldry, who's talking about online liveness, which I believe is what's happening now. I'm coming out live to you, even though I'm not sort of actually available face to face or whatever. I'm online. So there's that kind of liveness. And there's also another kind of liveness called group liveness that he identifies with. My grandchild, Leo, uses group liveness. He's always got his phone on. All his friends in their various places or wherever they are have their phones on. And they're Skyping or Snapchatting or WhatsApping or whatever these things are. I'm not quite sure about them. But Leo knows, and he is live with his group in that sense. Anyway, I have to focus on what liveness actually means to a performer. I belong to an amateur performing orchestra, the Kiel Sinfonia Orchestra, even though we haven't met since February, I don't think. One of the things that we do is we swap instruments around. So I play bass, but I swap my instruments with a flautist. They play bass and I get to play the flute. We do this and we exist as an orchestra for the fun of making music. I've got a list of the benefits of being in the Symphonia here. We rehearse together. We work collaboratively. We discover our parts, our context within the group in these rehearsals. We meet up socially. It's nice. We're friends. And we'll probably go for a drink in the intermission or afterwards and converse, see what everyone's doing. It's pleasant. It's social interaction. And I think that's probably one of the main reasons why people do it. It's also educational. I've put here peer review. We all criticize each other. No, that should be a B flat, not a B natural. Can we just try that again? Could you play a bit quieter? If you're on the bass guitar, you're over amplified, etc. So we learn from other people's comments about what we're doing. It is unmediated and it's live. We're working together, it's live. Unmediated, well, kind of. We do actually sometimes record what we're doing, and our recordings will probably end up on YouTube or somewhere similar, but generally we're unmediated. We have concerts with real live people sitting in the audience. I think our last concert was at Christmas last year. There was supposed to be one at Easter, but it was cancelled for obvious reasons. So yeah, we were live. That was the main thing. And this all ended with lockdown. So we have to look at what the alternatives to this kind of performance are. And this is it. This is the Kiel University Music Union Virtual Choir 2020. We've all seen videos of the COVID choirs singing together, usually to raise money for a good cause. We wondered if it was possible that we could play together online and still function and make our music together. The answer is quite simply no, we couldn't. If we tried all together at the same time. We had problems with different speeds of broadband, all kinds of things. So there was echo, there was latency in the system, and it was wrong. It didn't sound anything like a choir. But we found a way around it. We got to rehearse personally on our own. So we worked and worked on a piece until we got our part of it right. There was a social aspect because we were texting each other saying, well, what have you got up to? What are you doing? How are you? Etc. It was educational in that we had to teach ourselves what we were doing, but it was virtual. It was all done online. It was engineered at a distance. There was no liveness. It just wasn't natural, but there was a community interaction. When the piece was finished, it went on YouTube and 178 people at the last count watched it. Whereas if we were doing a live concert, we'd probably get about 50 people. So we got treble the audience by doing it this way. Yeah, our audience expanded, but the fun didn't. Doing things virtually is not fun. The process starts with a score together with a MIDI backing track, which is emailed to every participant. And the process that we have to go through is, first of all, once we've got the backing track, we practice it individually till we got it right. The next phase is we record ourselves individually playing with the backing track, which nobody can hear except you because you're playing it through your headphones. And you record the sound recording to your engineer, who will technologically magic it with equalization, synchronization, and all the amazing sound engineering things. And he'll fit it, or she'll fit it, together snugly with all the other parts when they come through. When you've recorded your part, you take off your headphones, you straighten your hair, and you video yourself lip syncing or instrument syncing or whatever with the recording that you've just made. And you upload the silent result to the engineer, the producer, who'll then mosaic all the videos and mix it in with the combined sound to make it look like a genuine live Zoom choir as seen on TV and social media, which is where your production will probably end up. It's not a genuine choir, of course. There's no liveness, no aura of people singing or playing together. There's no togetherness. Apart from concerts, one of the things that you need other people for, or to work with other people, is in collaboration. These are some of the people that I've collaborated with over the years: percussionists, guitarists, my family of experimental musicians, a little bit of theatre, other things as well. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. To me, collaboration means creating a piece, an event together, rehearsing, adapting, performing it together. One of my favourite collaborators is Leo, who's one of my grandchildren. And the most recent piece that we worked on is called Stupid Bang Stupid. It's both an entertainment and an etude, which has allowed me to explore some techniques of video and sound layering, and also experimenting with mixing in text with dialogue. This is part of my praxis, which I'm developing. And this is the start of the piece, which hopefully I can play to you. When your world population is maybe 5 billion.
Actually, it's more like 8 billion.
8 billion. How are you going to feed that? How are you going to feed them?
I think cannibalism would solve both world hunger and overpopulation. Cannibalism.
And that's the beginning of Stupid Bang Stupid. You'll notice at the beginning it's said by Corinne Jamal, which is my performance name, on the ground that there are probably dozens of people using the name Tim Anderson, including some composers who are far better known than myself. So Corinne Jamal it is. You heard Leo's voice, you saw Leo's face. I love collaborating with Leo. It's good fun. I'll show you now the end of this piece. There's a long bit in the middle, but hopefully you'll be able to notice some of the techniques I was talking about, the video and the sound layering and the text going on. So collaborating with Leo again, this is the ending of the piece.
That's what causes a lot of problems nowadays, because we've got contact with the outside world, and it's not good because they've got leaders like Trump and Kim Jong-un, and they don't get on, and they've both got nukes and all of that. All of that. All of that. Trump and Kim Jong-un and they don't get on and they both got nukes. No, it's wrong. Stupid. I just don't...
Heritage of freedom will perish. Are you aware, have you ever been a member of the Communist Party? Are you a member of the Communist Party? I understand. The structure will crumble.
No, it's wrong. Stupid. Stupid. Stupid.
Yeah. Hopefully, you've seen some examples of what my inquiry is all about, including the prosody and the politics of it. But this is what I mean by liveness in collaboration. And I'll say a bit more about that after a couple more slides. First of all, ethics. Permissions are normally necessary when you use identifiable pictures or video of people in art video. In my work, I use videos of demonstrations a lot. You didn't just see those, but they were in the middle section, which was missing. Demonstrations have flair and usually lots of colour as well as exciting sound. The demonstrators are there to be seen, to make their points. So I'm not going to ask for permission to video them. That's what they're there for. They're there to be seen. Likewise, the people who post themselves on the internet, such as the virtual choirs. Now, the participants in the Symphonia rehearsal, where you saw a picture of them, they were asked if they were okay with pictures being taken and used. We asked that question and they were, which is fine. Working with minors, as Leo is a particular case of ethical difficulty. I needed confirmation from Leo that he was okay with his voice and image being used in public. Leo, I could do with your comments and permission before this goes public. It's currently unlisted because it was on YouTube. I've sent a copy to your dad. It's probably best seen on a big screen with decent headphones. And I got a reply from Leo, which is his permission. I, Leo Anderson, provide genuine and witness permission for you, Tim Anderson, to release the aforementioned video art form and link to the public via the social media platform YouTube and any further platforms you wish to display it on. Now, please kindly leave me to binge TV shows and rot in bed like the apathetic, uninterested teenager I am. Many thanks. Yeah, thanks, Leo. Dad was agreeable as well. He had to be because he's my son. Okay, the next slide. This was collaborating with Leo, how we made it before lockdown. Leo lives in Wales and visited us in Staffordshire last year. Came on the train, we caught a bus from the station and Leo stayed with us. We walked and we talked around Keele in the woods there, exploring ideas and opinions, and we filmed during the walk for a different project, which was basically about adolescence and how difficult it is. We developed a dialogue on top of that to explore Leo's world view, which might have come over as slightly tongue-in-cheek. I hope it is. I don't think Leo approves of cannibalism, being a bit of a vegetarian anyway. We constructed a set of interview questions. We sat down on the sofas and discussed them. I asked the questions, they were answered and recorded, both in writing and in sound. There was no need for social distancing because this was before the virus emerged. Next, this is collaboration after lockdown. We have to talk to each other electronically or via snail mail, post as it used to be called. You use text, you use instant messaging to ask people, to ask for their opinions, to ask what they want to do and how they're going to do it. instant messaging, of course, isn't always instant. With members of my family, it can take maybe 2 or 3 days before something gets answered. We can also use phone calls and video messages, which has to be done more or less by agreement. My son has his business to run. My grandchild is frequently at work or dog walking or whatever he's doing at the moment. There are pluses with text and instant messaging. You don't have to pre-arrange to get together. You can send messages anytime. As I say, the problem is sometimes you don't get them back for a while. And the other thing about using text and instant messaging, you have an evidenced record of all your dialogue. Whereas if you're having a discussion about this or that, well, if you're anything like me, you forget half of it anyway. So it's there, it's on record, it's good. The minuses of post-lockdown collaboration methods, the phone calls and the video messaging, is that the aura of authenticity is missing. Darshan is absent. The presence. Darshan is a word that's used in Sanskrit or Hindi, meaning in the presence of God, or in the presence of an avatar, or a presence of a guru, or maybe just somebody you respect and like and care for. So darshan is having somebody's presence there, and that's not really there when you're messaging. Or is it? Come to that right at the end. One of the things is when you are looking at somebody video messaging or whatever, you lose the nuance, the subtlety of expression. You notice that on the news when some person is trying to get something across from home and the screen is flickering and flashing. You can't really be quite sure what their expression is saying unless they've got a very expensive piece of kit that they're working from. Okay, feedback is missing too. Instead of getting your immediate responses from the person, you have to rely on stuff like SurveyMonkey questionnaires. Yeah. I promised Leo's younger brother, who is a junior scootering champion and an online influencer in his field, that his turn will come to collaborate on something. And we'll go for online liveness. Now, I did mention that he's an influencer. He's got quite a following with his scootering. He's the under something or other. I think he was the under 14 Welsh scootering champion. So he's quite an athlete and lots of people follow him. But if you look at the influencers, when they come on the television programs and things, they have massive followings. So there must be some kind of darshan there. Otherwise, people wouldn't bother with them. Online liveness. Okay, finally, work will continue, whatever happens, however we do it. This is a new and strange time, but we will continue to create and somehow will exhibit our work because it's what we do, and people will respond to it in some way or other because it's art. And that's it. Thank you very much for listening. And if I can now get rid of this presentation, perhaps if anyone has any questions, I can attempt to answer them.